When you think of tomato harvests, sprawling backyard gardens and raised beds often come to mind. But I discovered firsthand that you don't need a backyard or even a patch of soil to produce a jaw-dropping crop of juicy, homegrown tomatoes. With just a handful of 5-gallon buckets, a sunny balcony, and the right approach, I managed to grow 50 vibrant tomatoes right outside my apartment door. It wasn't magic, it was strategy, consistency, and knowing exactly what tomato plants need to thrive in small spaces. The foundation of my balcony tomato success started with the right containers. Standard 5-gallon buckets are ideal because they're deep enough to support the robust root systems tomatoes require. I made sure to drill several drainage holes at the bottom of each bucket to prevent waterlogging, a critical step for healthy roots. Balconies can easily collect excess rain or trap heat, so drainage can't be overlooked. Sunlight was another non-negotiable factor. Tomatoes need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to flower and produce fruit. I carefully observed how light moved across my balcony throughout the day and positioned the buckets where they could soak up every possible ray. East or south-facing balconies tend to perform best, but even with some shade in the afternoon, a good morning sun boost kept my plants on track. Tomatoes are heavy feeders, and in buckets they depend entirely on the soil you provide. I created a lightweight, nutrient-rich growing medium using equal parts high-quality potting mix, compost, and coconut coir for moisture retention. I also added a small amount of crushed eggshells and worm castings to enhance calcium levels and microbial life, preventing blossom end rot and improving soil biology without expensive additives. When planting, I buried about 2/3 of each seedling stem to encourage strong root development. This deep planting gave each tomato plant a sturdier base and honestly, greater access to water and nutrients as it matured. In a small space garden, you really want your plants to be efficient, and this technique definitely pays dividends in container environments. One challenge with bucket-grown tomatoes is vertical growth. Without ample space to sprawl, support becomes critical. I installed simple cages made from repurposed wire fencing and garden stakes. As the plants grew, I guided them upward, trimming lower leaves to prevent disease and improve airflow. Pruning was essential. By pinching off suckers and maintaining a single or double stem, I channeled each plant's energy into producing fruit rather than excessive foliage. I also kept a close eye on spacing. While each bucket contained just one plant, I staggered their positions to reduce shading and allow air to circulate freely. Good airflow helps prevent fungal issues, which are, more common in compact urban growing spaces where humidity can rise pretty quickly. Tomato plants in buckets dry out faster than in-ground crops, especially during those hot summer days on a balcony. So I committed to a daily watering routine, checking the soil each morning. If the top inch felt dry, I watered thoroughly until it drained from the bottom. To conserve moisture, I added a thin layer of straw mulch on top of the soil. This simple trick dramatically reduced evaporation. For fertilization, I opted for a homemade compost tea once every 10 days, giving the plants a consistent supply of micronutrients without overfeeding. I also supplemented with a balanced organic tomato fertilizer every 3 weeks to keep fruit production high. Since nutrients wash out quickly in containers, feeding needs to be regular, but not excessive. Watching for leaf color, flowering habits, and fruit set helped me adjust the feeding schedule as needed. Urban balconies are not immune to pests, but staying proactive made all the difference. I inspected leaves daily for aphids, whiteflies, and spider mites. These are pretty common in container-grown plants. When I spotted trouble, I sprayed a mild neem oil solution and used my fingers to remove pests manually. I never let an infestation go unchecked. The tight quarters of a balcony garden mean one issue can quickly spread, so constant vigilance is key. Diseases like blight and powdery mildew were managed through consistent pruning, keeping leaves dry, and, cleaning tools between uses. I also avoided watering the foliage directly. Healthy plants bounce back fast, and honestly, mine proved incredibly resilient with just a little bit of attention each day. By the peak of summer, my balcony was transformed into a lush green haven bursting with tomato clusters. From cherry varieties to small slicers, I harvested over 50 ripe, flavorful tomatoes without a single square foot of backyard soil. I picked fresh fruits every day for weeks, enough for salads, sauces, and sharing with neighbors who couldn't believe the crop came from a few buckets on a concrete balcony. What began as an experiment turned into a reminder that space doesn't define success in gardening. Dedication, resourcefulness, and a love for plants do. With the right approach, anyone can grow a thriving tomato garden in the heart of the city. So if you're sitting on a balcony wondering if it's worth it, start with a bucket, then another. Watch as your tomato jungle unfolds. You'll be amazed at what a little vertical ambition and daily care can do. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe to Dirt Decoded for more space-smart gardening solutions. Share this video with fellow plant lovers who think they need a backyard to grow big, because it turns out, the only thing you really need is a bucket, a balcony, and a bit of belief.